The San Francisco 49ers have won 10 games in the National Football League. They've beaten the Seahawks 5 straight times. They've moved into the number 1 seed. And they've secured a playoff berth. Welcome to Josh's Football Breakdowns, where we don't tell you what you're seeing, we let the film tell us what we're seeing. And what we saw on Sunday was another dazzling array of big plays from the 49ers. Let's take a look at the first play of the game. The 49ers start off with what Pete Carroll described as their favorite run play. Okay, Trent Williams pins his man to the inside. Kyle Juszczyk is the lead blocker for Christian McCaffrey to the edge, where he eventually picks up Tariq Woolen. And like we've seen from a lot of teams this season, the Seattle linebackers were so committed to preventing San Francisco from gaining the edge that they overrun the play. Aaron Banks and George Kittle are happy to let them, allowing Christian McCaffrey to utilize the cutback lane. All plays succeed on the tablet, but men make them work. There was a lot of great blocking on this play. Deebo Samuel got involved, and check out Colton McKivitz picking up John Feliciano's man. And John Feliciano has to be praised for his persistence on this play. And finally, it was the hustle of Brandon Ayuk that got Christian McCaffrey an extra 5 yards on the play. I think if Christian McCaffrey had kept going to the corner, he probably would have scored. But not to worry, Jordan Mason would come in for Christian McCaffrey, who understandably needed a breather. And Mason shows the Seahawks, hey, I can utilize the cutback lane too. Christian McCaffrey took it 72 yards, and Jordan Mason takes it the final 3, giving San Francisco an early lead, 7-0. Drew Lock would show off his arm early in this game, going for the deep shot to DK Metcalf right away, despite being double covered by Jair Brown and Mooney Ward. And Ward nearly comes down with the interception. Incidentally, Charvarius Ward has requested to be referred to as Mooney Ward, so that's what we'll do here on this channel. But take a look at Ward on the following play. He's got to be really careful. This ball is apparently going to DK right away, that much is obvious, but he doesn't want to get burned by the double move. And he's a little slow to react to this, and then Deebo's able to get by him, and something is clearly not right with Ward right away. You can see him grab at his abdomen, and then he just walks himself off the field. Ward would leave with an abductor groin injury, and his absence could be significant for the 49ers down the stretch. On the Seahawks side of the ball, I thought their offensive play calling was really good at points during this game. Think about it. They went after Ward early on the deep shot, and then they came right back at him with the short route, knowing that he had to be careful. And now with Ward out of the game, Ambry Thomas is on DK, and they go for it again with another deep shot to DK. I really liked this play call. Thomas is in good position, but this ball is caught for a touchdown, and Seattle has answered right back. Wow. Thomas is in good position, he's right on him, he turns and locates the ball, and then he sticks up his hand to defense the pass, and the ball seems to just pass right through it. The Seahawks take a couple of shots early and they are rewarded for their efforts, moving into a 7-7 tie with San Francisco. And the teams would trade a few possessions, and we're going to go look at some of those plays, but eventually Seattle would get the ball back and go on another drive. Dre Greenlaw appears to be in great position to stop the rookie, Zach Charbonnet, but Charbonnet puts a move on him and then gets north and south. The Seahawks started this running play with a couple of double teams. Evan Brown and Damian Lewis double team Kalia Davis. Rookie Anthony Bradford and Jason Peters double team Javon Kinlaw. And then Lewis and Bradford peel off to the second level, leaving Dre Greenlaw as the last line of defense. Although the drive would stall, the Seahawks would tack on a field goal, taking the lead in this game, 10-7. Alright, let's go back and take a look at some of San Francisco's early possessions. First, let's take a look at the design of this play. Brandon Ayuk goes deep, taking the corner and the safety with him, opening up the middle of the field for George Kittle. But Jamal Adams doesn't go deep. Instead, he sits. He doesn't rotate down, and the reason for that is Brock Purdy is so good at reading those late rotations, so instead he just sits and then drives on the route at the last possible second. And he delivers a big hit to George Kittle. It's a rather shrewd defensive adjustment, and the kind that you often see between division rivals who play each other all the time and have the luxury of sort of fine-tuning these adjustments quickly like that. It's one of the reasons division games can sometimes be closer than people might think. Now, I've left it paused here because another significant development would happen on this play. You can see Devin Witherspoon is holding his head. He really caught some shrapnel on that big hit from Adams to Kittle, and he would be forced to leave this game as well, so the top corner for both teams would be forced to exit due to injury. Let's move ahead to the 49ers' next possession. The 49ers would immediately try to exploit this defensive adjustment by the Seahawks. And this is the purpose of the scripted plays coaches call at the beginnings of games. They want to see how the defense reacts and then make their own adjustments. Okay, here's how the adjustment works. Once again, we see two safeties back deep for the Seahawks, so the 49ers call what is essentially the same play. They send Brandon Ayuk deep, taking the corner with him, and this time they have Deebo Samuel come over the middle. Once again, Jamal Adams is going to drive on this route, so the adjustment is simple. Throw the ball to Ayuk instead of Deebo. Alright, we're going to move forward one more possession because now the 49er offense is ready to rock and roll. They start off with a similar run to Christian McCaffrey, but this time the Seattle linebackers are determined not to overrun the play. Christian McCaffrey simply says, "Alright, thank you very much, I'll just take the edge." Notice this time around they don't have a fullback in the formation, so they pull George Kittle instead. And once again, we would see excellent blocking from Brandon Ayuk. It's another 20-yard chunk for the 49ers, who are just getting started on this drive. Are the 49ers sending Juwan Jennings deep to run off the defense so they can bring Deebo Samuel over the middle? Jamal Adams starts to drive towards that part of the field, but in reality, Juwan Jennings is going to the middle and Deebo Samuel is going deep. And this is not an easy throw. You can see the line goes all the way off the screen here because Brock Purdy's going to chuck this ball all the way down to the 15-yard line. But watch Jamal Adams on this play. Yikes. Brock Purdy and Deebo Samuel scorched the Seahawks with a 54-yard touchdown pass, and Kyle's adjustments are proving to be deadly. And you guys already know, what do you need to throw the ball deep? Time. And just look at the location of that football, 49 yards down the field. So the 49ers go up 14-10, and they would get the ball back, looking to score some points before the end of the first half. But watch John Feliciano here. False start, penalties are drive killers, and after 2nd and long and 3rd and long, the 49ers would be forced to punt to Seattle with just over a minute to go in the first half. Now, we like to talk about interesting and unusual football situations on this channel, and we definitely see one here. Drew Lock rolls, and then he decides to throw, but as you can see, his entire body and the ball is past the line of scrimmage. This would be an illegal forward pass. And as good as the 49ers coaching staff was at adjustments in this game, they kind of fell asleep at the wheel here. First of all, there's a 10-second runoff, which the 49ers have the opportunity to decline. They should have done that to keep more time on the clock. Second of all, Kyle Shanahan said after the game he didn't realize that the officials would wind the clock after this penalty. So as a result, Seattle was able to let a bunch of time run down and then run the ball and go into the half. Had the 49ers used some of their timeouts, they could have gotten one more opportunity with the football. It's a little thing, but little things matter in this game. Okay, let's move ahead to the third quarter. After a quick 3-and-out by the Seahawks, the 49ers would go back to their ground game. And they start out with 3 eligibles on this side of the formation, and that's where Seattle sets up their defense. But when Kyle Juszczyk goes in motion, the defense doesn't shift, and they just felt a little out of position on this play. Now, I've been on record on this channel in saying I think Bobby Wagner is a Hall of Fame player, probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I thought this was the best game he had in years, to be frank. Even so, he was a bit outclassed in this game. And here, Christian McCaffrey uses a stiff arm and just runs away from him. Get off me. Unfortunately, the drive would stall and the 49ers would have to punt again. But we're going to take a look at this defender here. He doesn't pay any attention to the actual punt at all. He just does this sort of hit and release. I don't even think he bothers with the hit. He just releases and tries to get a head start on the punt return. Wishnowsky was undoubtedly prepared for this, and he just goes. And then the Seahawks hit him late, and we would see the flag come in for hitting Mitch Wishnowsky out of bounds. That would be a personal foul half the distance to the goal in addition to this. Now, the interesting thing about this is Kyle Shanahan said he had no idea this fake punt was coming. Why? Well, as I said, this was something that they were probably watching for. They probably saw it on tape leading up to this game, and the special teams coach probably told Mitch, if you see this and you have the opportunity, you can go as long as you make it, right? Realistically, that's probably what it was. And we've actually seen this in the NFL before. Let's go back to the 1972 AFC Championship game, Dolphins at Steelers, and there it is. Larry Seipel taking the ball himself. The coach didn't know he was going to do this, and he gets the first down, and the Dolphins would score their first points of the game after that, preserving their undefeated 72 season. Yes, they were playing in Pittsburgh in the playoffs because back in those days, they rotated home field advantage, if you can imagine that. All right, let's go back to the Niner game, because when we look at it from this angle, we're going to see there's a problem. Ronnie Bell didn't realize Wishnowsky was going to fake this either. He is surprised by this, and when he turns around and tries to get in position to block, he slips and falls on the play. The officials would rule this an illegal low block. Now, that's a really tough call. It's an accurate one. You can't block low regardless of what the reason is, and I get it. The officials don't want to have to be in a position of trying to decide, who's blocking low and who's just slipping on the turf. If they see it, they just want to call it. I really would have liked to have seen them use their judgment here and pick up this flag. And it was a really frustrating penalty because even with the personal foul against the punter for hitting him late out of bounds, the penalty's offset. Replay the down, and now without the element of surprise, the 49ers would have to punt back to the Seahawks. The crowd at Levi's was very upset by this, and they let the officials hear it after this play. So the Seahawks would get the ball back, but here they're facing a 3rd down and 13. The 49ers would decide to defend the line to gain. Drew Lock has nowhere to go with the football, and the pressure from Nick Bosa is right in his face. He has to scramble. And here Dre Greenlaw makes an excellent open field tackle to come up with a big sack in the ballgame. And from this angle, we get a great look at how the 49ers generated that pressure, because they did something unique defensively. They put Chase Young and Nick Bosa right next to each other. Nick Bosa lines up in the defensive tackle position. And the Seahawks have a plan to deal with this. They're going to double team Chase Young with Abraham Lucas and Zach Charbonnet. And they're also going to double team Nick Bosa with Anthony Bradford and Evan Brown. But Bradford, the rookie, doesn't slide over far enough. You can see there's a gap there. And Nick Bosa is just too explosive for that. Back on offense, Brock Purdy takes a long look at Brandon Ayuk. Unclear why he didn't throw this football, but this time it's the pressure of Draymond Jones that looks like it might be getting home to Brock Purdy. Purdy stays calm, buys time, keeps his eyes downfield, and what does he see? Well, he sees the defender's back is turned, and he sees Brandon Ayuk running to space. Dime. And it's another huge play for the 49ers in this game. 45 yards on the scramble drill. And again, just look at the location of that throw. Is there anybody throwing the football better than Brock Purdy right now? The 49ers have won 5 straight against Seattle. Pete Carroll is 0-8 lifetime against the 49ers without Russell Wilson. And San Francisco has handed Pete his first ever 4-game losing streak in the NFL. So after the game, in what was probably a bit of a frustrating press conference for Pete Carroll, Carroll insisted that Brock Purdy should not have thrown this football. I'm sorry, Julian Love is in no position to make a play on Brandon Ayuk here. This was a great throw and a great catch. A few plays later, the 49ers would be facing a 3rd down and 6, and this is a key down. If Seattle can hold San Francisco to a field goal here, they would keep it to a 1-score game. They don't want to go down 2 scores late in the ball game. Of course, Brock Purdy knows that this is a key down as well. Unfortunately for Brock, at the back of his drop, you can see Colton McKivitz has already been beaten. Brock is under pressure, and he just does what he does best, stays calm and buys time. And at first glance, it looks like he doesn't really have very many good options. I don't think he can make it if he tries to run to that line to gain. But the defenders are somewhat mesmerized by Purdy, so Purdy decides to get the ball to one of his best playmakers in space. And Deebo breaks a tackle, makes a move, powers through another tackle, and reaches the ball across, and the officials would mark him just short of the goal line. Wow. And it's yet another great improvisational play from MVP candidate Brock Purdy. All right, now I've stopped it on the first frame of the next play here because take a look at Christian McCaffrey. If you listen to the radio broadcast of this game, the broadcasters on KNBR thought that McCaffrey might be tipping the Seahawks by pounding his helmet before this play. They thought he might be tipping him off that he was about to get the football. Well, let's see how this play unfolds. The defense definitely reacts as if McCaffrey gets this ball, when in reality it's going to Deebo Samuel. Touchdown 49ers, and McCaffrey helped to sell that fake by pounding his helmet beforehand. Wow. And once again, have a lot of respect for Bobby Wagner, but just like we saw on Thanksgiving night, here he gets another one wrong at the goal line. The Seahawks would fight back. Locke gets the ball to Kenneth Walker, but Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner appear to be in perfect position to corral him, but Fred actually overruns this just a little bit, and Walker is able to escape. A 27-yard gain on the play. After getting burned, San Francisco makes sure to stop this running play. And that's a problem because this isn't a run, it's a pass to Noah Fant. And remember, that corner isn't really there. It's a great play call by Shane Waldron, who follows it up with another great play call. Locke fakes the pass to the left, moving Isaiah Oliver. Then he fakes the pass to the right, moving Fred Warner and the outside linebacker, opening up the middle of the field for Colby Parkinson. Touchdown Seahawks, and if you're wondering, yes, that was the exact same play that the 49ers used against Seattle last year. And I'll tell you right now, this was not a coincidence. Why did Seattle call this play? I said it was a great play call. Let's take a look from this angle. We can see that Dre Greenlaw has left the field due to injury. Demetrius Flanagan Fowles is in the game at linebacker. Warren Burks was also unable to come in. The Seahawks saw that and called a play designed to take advantage of moving these linebackers around. But there is another element to it, which is San Francisco may have embarrassed Seattle a little bit with that play call last season. The Seahawks are making it clear that, hey, we can do the same thing to you. Seattle scores in 3 plays to get right back into this game. But here, I think the Seahawks get it a little bit wrong. Going for the 2-point conversion, it was totally unnecessary this early on in the fourth quarter. You know, you're doing a great job. You're hanging right with the 49ers. You're trading blow for blow with them. But this was the first time in the game I thought they really started pressing. 16-21 is the score, with San Francisco with the lead and the ball on the last play of the third quarter. Christian McCaffrey goes in motion, and nobody goes with him, indicating a zone defense. But when McCaffrey comes back around on the orbit motion, Jamal Adams widens. Bobby Wagner does not, and Deebo Samuel takes the space the defense left behind. Wagner's out of position, and yeah, there's no way he's running down Deebo. Now, it's not all Bobby's fault. Brock Purdy looks for the deep route to George Kittle first, and this clearly held the linebackers with his eyes. Alright, we're in the fourth quarter now, so the teams have switched sides, but this is still the same drive. The 49ers start with a fake handoff to Christian McCaffrey. And just like San Francisco on Seattle's last possession, the Seahawks bite hard on this fake, allowing George Kittle to come free down the field. All day, the Seahawks were aggressive on defense, and all day it cost them. The 49ers answer right back with a 3-play drive of their own, capped off by the 44-yard bomb to George Kittle, taking the lead 28-16 in the fourth quarter. Draymond Jones does loop around here, but watch Christian McCaffrey slow him down just enough to give Brock Purdy time to throw this football. They're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter to their division rival, but they've got plenty of time. Nevertheless, the Seahawks again press on this drive. They call the deep shot, the post corner to DK Metcalf, but Deommodore Lenoir has great coverage on this play, and he has safety help over the top from Jair Brown. Locke had to see that DK was double covered here, but he decides to throw it anyway. And the pass is intercepted by Jair Brown. The rookie has been a revelation filling in for Talanoa Hufanga. And DK appears to have trouble locating the ball late and is never able to adjust to it. Up 12 points in the fourth, the 49ers would like to start killing the clock. And the Seattle Seahawks are keen to prevent that, and Shanahan takes advantage of it, calling another run fake. So far so good, but Brock Purdy comes out of this role very awkwardly. Watch as he does like a bunny hop and then a hitch. This ball is going to be late to Brandon Ayuk, but he guns it in there. But Brandon Ayuk fumbles the football and the Seahawks recover, and Seattle has a 9th life. Great job by Julian Love with the chop to force this fumble. Oh, what a pass. Even being late on the throw, what a pass. At no point today did the Seattle Seahawks quit or give up, which is not something we can say about some of the other opponents the 49ers have faced this season. Alright, we've moved ahead just a little bit. You can see Seattle has advanced the ball to the 41-yard line, but they have taken a lot of time off this clock, and it's running. They need to start taking shots at the end zone. But on 3rd and 6, San Francisco makes the very shrewd decision to defend the line to gain, turning over the deep routes to their safeties. Drew Lock isn't able to get a throw off, and he has to eat this football. The sack is a terrible result. It brings up 4th down and 13, but because there's so little time left in the game, the Seahawks have to go for it. In desperation, they try one more deep shot to DK Metcalf, and there's a lot of defenders back there. But let's take a look at a defender who's pretty far away from the ball. Check out Fred Warner run this ball down almost like Willie Mays. Interception, are you kidding me? And then all heck breaks loose, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's just talk about the fact that San Francisco has stellar playmakers on both sides of the ball. Seattle came into this game with a lot of heart, determination, a good game plan, and a backup quarterback who played a lot better than I thought. But at the end of the day, the 49ers playmakers were just too much to overcome. All right, here's the lateral, which I'm sure gave the coaches a heart attack. But look at DK, you can see he's going to do the same illegal suplex maneuver that got Dre Greenlaw in trouble in the Eagles game. And we see the flag come out for it. Personal foul. Either way, Fred Warner retaliates. And then DK simply loses his mind, and this would get DK Metcalf ejected from the game. Unbelievably, after the play, DK would go after Fred again. And with his history, he could be facing fines or suspension, definitely further punishment for the way this continued to escalate. Diamador Lenore, in defense of Fred, decides he wants to jump in and he would be thrown out of the game as well. Alright, one more play to show you. 3rd and 7. If the 49ers hit this, they can ice the game. George Kittle finds the hole in the zone, and Brock Purdy makes a really nice throw, gunning it into him. And we see Jordan Mason get a few more carries at the end of this game. The 49ers might need him if Elijah Mitchell can't go. Down 2 scores with 1 minute to go in the 4th quarter, and without the ball, Pete Carroll calls a timeout. Whether it's ultra competitiveness or frustration or bordering on poor sportsmanship, I'll let you guys decide in the comments, but Jordan Mason leaves no doubt. He ices the game for the 49ers. And that'll do it for us on Josh's Football Breakdowns. San Francisco has pretty much owned Seattle for the last 2 years straight. Playoffs and regular season. They could win the NFC West next week. They're in the playoffs right now, and they currently hold the number 1 seed. The future is bright for the San Francisco 49ers, and it's time to start dreaming. Life is short, so dream big. I want to thank everybody who's taken time to subscribe to this channel. It takes a long time to make a video like this. If you could give me just a few seconds, like and subscribe, and we will be back next week with another breakdown. And folks, there's a lot of you I gotta thank for making this happen. Your generous support has really made this channel possible. I say this week in and week out because it's true. Week in and week out, you humble me, you honor me. I am just blown away by your generosity week after week. I don't know what else to say other than thank you. You guys, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. It truly means a lot. I really appreciate it. All right, next week it is going to be 49ers at the Arizona Cardinals. Big game, division game, and a chance for the 49ers to clinch the NFC West division for the 2nd year in a row, and for the 3rd time in the past 4 seasons. And I don't know what's going to happen in that game, but you know we will be here to break down that film, and I will see you guys then.